Good morning. Welcome back to yet another section of signatures expressing the self. In our last class, we went through Janice Miri Kidani and a brief summary of her poem Breaking Silence. Today we are going to start the poem Breaking Silence. Before this, I want to speak about Japanese Americans. Americans put themselves on a pedestal in order to make sure they had power over people of Japanese descent. Japanese Americans were put into internment camps across the country. All share similar experiences in regards to losing their self-image. This resulted in Japanese Americans feeling dehumanized and alienated from the world. They could not express their ideas and thoughts during the war in efforts of showing their loyalty to the country. The Japanese Americans became silent and had no voice. When Japanese Americans were put into internment camps, they were no longer addressed by name. In Mine Okubo's Citizen 13,660, she tells of her experience of having been assigned a number that represented her family name. Okuba states, "My family name was reduced to number 13,660. Can you imagine? This is a proof of how Japanese Americans were not treated as human beings. Another example of mistreatment was the Japanese Americans being put into host tables instead of rooms. The stalls were really small, 20 by 9 feet split into 2 rooms, nearly too small to live comfortably. This was another sign of dehumanizing. So here we already quoted 2 examples to understand the sufferings or the tortured by Americans towards Japanese Americans. I think all of you understood the example from Okubo's Citizen 13,660. In that poem, she reveals that her family was called as the number 13,660. That's why they already revealed that they were treated not as human beings, just like animals. And even I already told you how they lived in host tables. So this was another sign of dehumanizing. The wartime relocation and internment took a toll on the way the public viewed and treated Japanese Americans. Janice Miri Kidani's Breaking Silence expresses the brutality of how the Japanese Americans were treated. The poem puts an emphasis on the protocol of internment and a dialogue with a commissioner. So let us start the poem. All of you please take the textbook, page number 90. Okay, I hope all of you are ready with the page number 90. Breaking Silence, written by Janice Miri Kidani. After 40 years of silence about the experience of Japanese Americans in World War II concentration camps, my mother testified before the Commission on Wartime Relocation and Internment of Japanese American Civilians in 1981. Okay, I told you actually the first part we can be divided this poem into two parts. Actually the poem starts by the description of the author Janice Marie Kidani. Then the second part, it is a monologue of her mother. Okay. Then after 40 years of silence about the experience of Japanese Americans in World War II concentration camps, my mother testified before the Commission on Wartime Relocation and Internment of Japanese American Civilians in 1981. Here we can see that Janice Marie Kidani's mother, who was taken to Japanese internment camp during World War II. In this poem, her mother testifies about her experiences in front of the 1981 Commission on Wartime Relocation and Internment of Japanese American. Actually, after 40 years, she started to speak about her experiences in the Rover camp. Her testimony is given approximately 40 years after her experiences. Then throughout these 40 years, she remained silent about her mistreatment, incorporates small portions. Actually she kept silence, she remained silent about her mistreatment. Then have you noticed the title, Breaking Silence? I told you after 40 years, Marie Kidani's mother started to speak about her experiences in a Rover concentration camp. So here the poem's title incorporates small portions of Marie Kidani's mother's words from her testimony. Then the poem's title references how her mother finally talks about her treacherous experiences. That's why she gave the title Breaking Silence. So I think all of you got the idea. Here Marie Kidani, the author herself, starts the poem. She already took the permission from her mother to reveal the experiences of her mother. So she starts the poem. And even the second phase, I told you, it is a monologue by Marie Kidani's mother. We can easily understand that when the mother speaks, those lines she already given here in inverted comma. So you can easily understand. Okay, so the poem starts by the writer herself. So she is sharing the experiences of her mother. I told you, Marie Kidani's mother, who was taken to Japanese internment camp during World War II. In this poem, her mother testifies about her experiences in front of the 1981 Commission. Actually, she remained silent about her mistreatment in the concentration camp. Her testimony is given approximately 40 years after her experiences in the internment camp. So that is why she gave the title Breaking Silence. So the title references how her mother finally talks about her treacherous experiences. Okay. So we can go to the next stanza, page number 90. There are miracles that happen, she said, from the silences in the glass caves of our ears, from the crippled tongue, from the mute wet eyelash, testimonies waiting like winter. Okay. Then I told you, Janice Miri Kidani's mother, she remained silent, and she was not at all ready to speak about the mistreatment in the camp. Just for 40 years, can you imagine? So she reveals, from the silences in the glass caves of our ears, from the crippled tongue, from the mute wet eyelash, testimonies waiting like winter. Okay, first we can discuss the difficult words. Second line in this stanza, glass caves of our ears. Actually, here Janice Miri Kidani uses this sentence to reveal that not able to hear anything, because her mother remained silent for 40 years. That's why she couldn't able to hear anything. She became deaf. Sarcastically she says these lines. Sarcastically Miri Kidani says these lines. She says that there are miracles that happen in her mother's life, because she remained silent for 40 years. Then her ears act as the glass caves. I told you she remained silent for 40 years. As the result, her ears act as the glass caves. She can't able to hear anything. She became deaf. Okay. The next page, page number 91. From the crippled tongue, crippled. You please note down the meaning. Crippled means to cause to be unable to move. As the result, I told you she kept silent. She remained silent for 40 years. As the result, she became deaf. From the crippled tongue, she can't use the tongue, because she didn't speak for 40 years. As the result, she became dumb and deaf. From the mute wet eyelash. Actually, she forgot how to cry. Eyes are mute, because she didn't think about her life. That's why she can't speak. She can't cry. She can't hear anything. If she hear the things, then only she can respond. Okay, so she can react. But here, throughout the 40 years, she remained silent. As the result, she became deaf, dumb, and she forgot to cry. I told you, sarcastically Janice Mirikidani says this. And testimonies waiting like winter. I think all of you remembered well, after 40 years now, Janice Mirikidani's mother is ready to reveal the experiences in the camp in front of the commission in 1981. So they are waiting for her testimony. I think if you remembered well what it is testimony. Communicate officially. Okay. So the testimony is waiting like winter. What is the speciality of winter? Especially in North India, winter is very long. It is inactive, the coldest season. So after the winter, all the things including nature, human beings, all are eagerly waiting for the next season, the summer season. So here the testimony is waiting like winter. Okay, that means it is very inactive. She started to speak inactive like a winter. So I think all of you got the idea about this stanza. I told you she remained silent for 40 years. As the result, her ears act as a glass caves, and she forgot to cry. She forgot to cry, and she can't move her tongue. I told you she became dumb, deaf, and also forgot to cry. And even they are waiting for her testimony. It's just like a winter. Okay, then we can move to the next stanza. We were told that silence was better, golden like our skin, useful like so quietly, easier like don't make waves, expedient like hostels and deserts. Okay, actually we can feel the irony in these lines. We were told that silence was better, golden like our skin, useful like so quietly, easier like don't make waves, expedient like hostels and deserts. Actually, they were made to believe that silence was better, like their skin color being golden. Japanese Americans, their skin color, it's just like a yellow golden color. Okay, so they were made to believe that silence was better. Then only if they are ready to keep quiet, then only they can live well, because they already believe so. And as the result, they wanted to be quiet. And easier like don't make waves. Waves here, protest. So how we can keep the silence? How? If you are ready to keep silent, how? If you are not at all ready to respond anything, definitely you can keep quiet. So that is why like don't make waves. They already they were made to believe that there is no need to make protest. Expedient like hostels and desert. And they also believe that they should be act as a hostels. I think all of you are know what it is. Hostels, stables, the place which we provide for horse. You know the speciality of hostels. It is very clean and spacious. So they already got the idea they should act as a hostels. That means their minds should be very clean and spacious, and just like deserts. Then that means it is very clean and it is very spacious. So they already taught themselves to be as a hostels and deserts. They are not at all ready to protest. As the result, they always keep quiet. And they already understood that silence was better. And it is just like their golden skin. Actually, their golden skin is the main problem. Because of this golden skin, all of them were very easily understood, recognized them. So it is also the reason for their racial discrimination. So that is why I told you the irony is, how could one feel like an American when they cannot even share how they feel? The encouraged silence created a loss of self-image. Actually, when they remained silent, it created a loss of self-image. They were made to believe that silence was better, like their skin color being golden, useful like staying quiet, easier like creating no wave of change, convenient and spacious like hostels and deserts. So I told you it is an irony. I repeat, how can you feel if you cannot express your feeling? Can you imagine the situation? You are suppressing, you can't express your emotions. You are living like this for 40 years. Can be a difference between what might be expected to happen and what actually occurs. They already expected more about their life. But what happened? What is happening in their life? There are so many differences between the reality and their belief, their hope. But being encouraged to silence can create a loss of self-image. Actually, they already lost their self-image. So here Miri Kidani expresses this poem that her mother for not having a voice but silent. So during this era, with her expression of silence leads to a brutal experiences of how Japanese Americans were treated in the concentration camps. Okay, it is very important lines. We are told that silence was better, golden like our skin, useful like so quietly, easier like don't make waves. It is very important. So I think all of you understood this stanza well. They were forced to be silent because How we can be silent? Yes, we are not at all ready to protest anything. So that is why they tried their maximum to act as a stubble and desert. Okay, then we can move to the next stanza. Mr. Commissioner, the US Army Signal Corps confiscated our property. It was subjected to vandalism and ravage. All improvements we had made before our incarceration was stolen or destroyed. I was coerced into signing documents giving you authority to take. This is the monologue of Miri Kidani's mother. Mr. Commissioner, the US Army Signal Corps confiscated. Confiscated means seize someone's property. Seize someone's property. Our property. It was subjected to vandalism and ravage. Vandalism means deliberately destroying property. Vandalism means deliberately destroying property. Ravage. Ravage means harm very badly. Ravage means harm very badly. All improvements we had made before our incarceration. Incarceration, actually we already met this word in the introduction. I repeat the meaning, put in prison. Put in prison. Was stolen or destroyed. I was coerced. Coerced means forced. Coerced means forced into signing documents giving you authority to take. So in between the poem there are monologues of her mother as said to the mother. In these lines, her mother says that all their properties were confiscated. Confiscated means seize someone's property. So she says that all their properties were confiscated and they were forced into signing many papers to take everything they had. They were not at all happy to sign all the property for them, but they were forced to signing many papers to take everything they had. Okay, so we can move to the next stanza. So these lines, it is the monologue of Miri Kidani's mother. So I told you when she arrived, when Miri Kidani's mother arrived here, she was humiliated and harmed by the American government. Her mother explains her feelings of injustice. She was forced to give the US Army officers whatever they requested of her. Whatever they demanded, not requested, I am sorry, whatever they demanded of her. Okay, then we can move to the next stanza. My mother, soft as tallow, words peeling from her like silvers of yellow flame. Okay. Tallow means a hard and fatty substance, just like wax or soap or candles. Okay. A hard or fatty substance made from animal fat in making candles and soap. That it is tallow. Words peeling from her like silvers of yellow flame. Okay. So I told you the previous stanza, it was the monologue of her mother. So we already understood Janice Miri Kidani's mother speaks about the injustice. So Janice Miri Kidani says that her mother's words were like wax or the substance just using for making candles or soap. Okay, so her mother's words were like wax melting down from yellow flame. When she starts to reveal her experiences, how she was brutally tortured in the concentration camp, when she reveals all these things, her words were like wax melting down from yellow flame. Okay, the next page 92. Her testimony, a vat of boiling water surging through the coldest, bluest vein. Surging means suddenly increases to an unusual high level. Suddenly increases to an unusually high level. Okay. Bluest here means unhappy. And even we are using the word blue relating the superiority than the others, especially relating the race. Her testimony, a vat of boiling water surging through the coldest, bluest vein. So, her words were like a bowl of boiling water that flew through the cold blue vein. So actually we can see that when Janice Miri Kidani's mother starts to speak in front of the commission in 1981, she was just like an winter. Her words were not active. But when she speaks about the injustice towards them, we can see that her words were just like wax melting down from yellow flame. Now her words like a bowl of boiling water that flew through the cold blue vein. That means she became very active. She broke the silence completely. She started to speak about very powerfully about her experiences, how she was brutally tortured in the concentration camp. She had come to her land as shovel, hoe and sickle searing, reed and rock and dead brush, labored so to sinew the ground, to soften gardens pregnant with seed, awaiting each silent morning, birthing fields of flowers, mustard, greens and tomatoes, throbbing like the sea. Then she is speaking about the past, how she reached here. When she reached this place, she had a lot of dream. She was very hard-working person. She had come to her land as shovel, hoe and sickle, searing reed and rock. She came to this land with her farming tools, shovel, hoe and sickle. All these are farming tools. I think all of you are very familiar with these tools. So she reached here in this land with the farming tools, shovel, hoe and sickle. And she was ready to work hard. She was ready to work hard in the rock and dead brush. Dead brush here means thicket of shrubs and small trees. Then reed, the same line reed. Reed means tall thin grass. When she reached into this place, the place was covered with reed, tall thin grass, rock and also dead bush. It was not suitable for farming, but she was ready to work hard. She reached here with the farming tools. She worked hard. Sinew the ground. Sinew means strengthen. She was ready to work hard. She was waiting for the result. To soften gardens pregnant with seed, awaiting each silent morning, birthing fields of flowers, mustard greens and tomatoes, throbbing like the sea. Throbbing means a feel, a pain that starts and stops quickly and repeatedly. So I told you she reached into this place with a lot of dreams. When she reached this place, I told you this place was filled with reed, dead bush and rock. But she was ready to work hard. She brought all the farming tools like shovel, hoe and sickle. She worked hard. She was waiting for the result. Every morning she was looking to her farm, to her field to get the result. And we can see the result. The fields of flowers, mustard greens, tomatoes, throbbing like the sea. She got the result for her hard work. I told you, I think if you remembered the place, how was the place, how she changed it with her hard work. So, I told you, she speaks about the dreams with which she migrated from Japan to America. She had only basic inputs to build a new life in a new land. It was not familiar for her. But she worked hard to bloom the seeds they sow, and they were almost in the way of harvesting. Okay. Then we can move to the next stanza. All was hushed for announcements, and then all was hushed for announcements. Hushed means become quiet. Hushed means become quiet. Take only what you can carry. We were made to believe our faces betrayed us. Our bodies were loud with yellow screaming flesh, needing to be silenced behind barbed wire. Hushed means become quiet. Betrayed means hurt by doing something morally wrong. Betrayed means hurt by doing something morally wrong. Screaming means cry out in a loud and high voice. Cry out in a loud and high voice because of pain, surprise, anger. Then barbed wire. Barbed wire means wire that has sharp points, that is often used for fences. That means kambiveli. Okay, barbed wire. So I told you she was ready to work hard. She had a lot of dreams, and using the farming tools, she made the changes in the land. She was eagerly waiting for the result. Every morning she started to look at her fields to get the result. Then what happened? But they worked hard, I told you, and one day there was an announcement which silenced everything. One day she woke up by hearing the announcement which silenced everything. What it is? They were asked to take only what they could carry and leave. That was the announcement. You can take what you can carry and leave. Is it possible to take all their crops? Is it possible? Actually, they are waiting for the result, waiting for the harvest. She worked hard. She is eagerly waiting to get the harvest. At the moment, one day she got the announcement. That announcement silenced everything. They were asked to take only what they could carry and leave. They were made to believe that they being Japanese Americans was the problem. Actually, these lines are very important. Take only what you can carry. We were made to believe our faces betrayed us. Our bodies were loud with yellow screaming flesh, needing to be silenced behind barbed wire. These lines are very important. We can feel the irony in these lines. We were made to believe our faces betrayed us. Our bodies were loud with yellow screaming flesh, needing to be silenced behind barbed wire. So we can see that Miri Kidani feels that her mother might have been embarrassed of her heritage. But then she is describing how she felt being locked up like animals. They were made to believe that they being Japanese Americans was the problem. Her mother says that they were singled out from others who were suspected. Actually, they were tortured. She says we were made to believe our faces betrayed us. Our bodies were loud with yellow screaming flesh, needing to be silenced behind barbed wire. Not only did she have the perception that she should be embarrassed of her heritage, but it also sounds like a description of being locked up like animals. Page number 92. So all of you please go through the lines well. We will meet in the next class. Thank you.